Welcome to Naija Infusions by Awesome Dishes. Today is all about jollof rice. This recipe is very simple, very straightforward. No tomatoes needed, no puree needed, and you will be very amazed at the result by the time you finish preparing it. So I've got thyme, which I'll be using. I've got 4 Scotch bonnets, atarodo, some people call it, or whatever you call it in your language. You can use habanero peppers as well, or red eye chili. Either one works well. We've got bell peppers. I've got 9 of these bell peppers, oil of course, and this is the rice I'll be using, which is Golden Sailor Basmati rice by Annie. I've got thyme, curry as well, curry powder. This curry powder is very strong. It's the Caribbean curry, not the Indian curry. So you have to be very careful when you're using this curry because it's very heavy. I recommend you using Indian curry if you prefer. But this is what I'll be using. I've got I won't be using like salt. I don't salt on all the salt or table salt. I'm basically using stock cube. I've got 7 of them here by now. You can use 8, but I'm going to be using 7. But if you like it extra salty, you can make it 8 cubes. Altogether, it's 17 cubes of 7. I've got 2 onions as well. If you like more onions, please feel free to use more onions, but these are my own ingredients which I'll be using. Remember, no tomatoes, no puree, just what you see here. And obviously we'll be needing water. When it gets to that stage, I'm gonna show you guys how many liters of water we'll be needing. So let's get cracking. So what we're gonna do now, I've washed the peppers and I've got 300 ml of water to blend the peppers. Rinse this onions out, and what we start doing is blending. So I've got my pot ready over here. The idea is to use as less water in blending rather than use the maximum amount of water to blend. So we want to keep the water as low as possible. Okay, I think my blender is going crazy today. Come on, blender. Ah, and it works. Why do it? You need to. The thing you have to be sure that you know the strength of your blender. Because I know the strength of my blender, rather than go full force, I go pause, like I blend a little, I stop, I blend a little, I stop. A lot of people ask me what blender do I use on Instagram, and I always tell them, and on Snapchat as well, they ask me, oh, what brand of blender do you use? I used to use Kenwood before, but now I use Philips. And I'll use Philips. I always keep a blue roll handy at home. Extremely important. Or kitchen roll. So we're going to take that off and pour into the pot. The idea is to simmer the peppers. For me, I don't like not all the time do I like my peppers to be extremely smooth, but if you prefer it extremely smooth, feel free to make it extremely smooth. I want to make sure that this video is different to most of the video that you would have normally watched. I want it to be more educative to you guys, whereby you go back and you do it and you find out how you found it, how I made it. That's the way it's come out, rather than the other way around. It does have a hole. I just can't find it. This blender is called Pro Blade. It's called Pro Blade 6 by Philips. So I'm going to pour that into the pot and let it simmer. So once that simmers, we will then move on to the next stage. The pepper's simmering over there. We're going to weigh out our thyme and curry. I'm already peeling out the Maggi cubes. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm not going to use 14 until you use 16 or 19 or 20, because I want you guys to try it out and come back and say, you know what, I did it as you did it and it came out as you said it would come out. Not I did it and I was not sure what I should have done, or I was confused and stuff. Is cooking jollof rice is something that a lot of us find very difficult to do, and sometimes even the professional, when we call ourselves professionals, we do get it wrong. So it is important that you follow instructions when you're doing all this. So I've got that there. I'm gonna weigh out the thyme and the curry. I do not need a lot. I need just a little of curry and thyme. I'm using my measuring spoon. If you're in the UK, these spoons, they cost just about £1 at £1 shop. You can even get them as a deal combined with I like a lot of thyme in my jollof rice, so I'm going to be using 1 dessert spoon of thyme. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna be naughty and use a whole tablespoon. I mostly use fresh thymes sometimes. It just depends on the mood. It depends on the mood. I'll use fresh thyme. So make sure your fresh thyme are still fresh. What you just do is place it in the freezer. So for the curry, I'm going to be using half a tablespoon of curry. Like I told you, this curry, if you're using this brand, it is extremely strong. So please be very careful with it. What happens is, because it's so strong, it will change the color of your rice. Rather than your rice being red, it will make it a bit orangey. When I say orangey, very orangey. So you need to be extremely careful when using this brand of this particular brand or any Jamaican curry. This particular one is really good for doing curry goat and all the stuff. Okay, so you need to be extremely careful. For the oil, I'm weighing out. Oh, my hands have gone dry. I injured myself the other day. I was caught a barbecue cylinder, cut my hand, my finger. Never mind. For the oil, I'm going to be using 1/3 cup of oil. That's all we need. For the rice, we're gonna weigh our rice out. When you're weighing anything, switch it on. Switch it on. When you switch it on, place whatever you want to weigh the things inside, and what you do is reset, and then we weigh out. This is the rice I'm using, like I mentioned earlier, Golden Seller Basmati. I do get asked that question a lot. What brand of rice are you using? So I need to take that out. Imagine. I need 2 kilograms of rice. Right. So I've got my 2 kilograms of rice here. It says it's going between 1999 to 2 kilograms. It's absolutely fine. That's the amount of rice we need. It's gone off now. Well, that's the amount of rice we need. And when you're washing your rice, it's extremely important that you wash your rice with warm water, because the sauce is going to be the peppers we're pouring the rice into is going to be hot. So you cannot pour cold thing into hot something. If you pour cold into hot, what it does is that it drops in temperature, and when it drops in temperature, by that time your rice is getting really it will start going soggy, because it's in a cold it's the temperature of the sauce is gone down. So rather than the rice boiling while it's, how do I put this without standing very, very technical? Basically, do not put, it's like, okay, imagine your body. If you're warm, if the weather is cold and you're bathing with cold water, your body, you will start shivering. That's what happens to the rice when the rice goes into a cold rice, goes into the hot sauce. And if the rice is cold and the sauce is hot, it drops in temperature, and that affects the rice. So your rice must be washed in warm water, because it's going into hot water. That what happens then is that it maintains a very good temperature, and it starts boiling straight away, rather than the rice being soggy in the sauce. I hope that's a clear explanation. If you do not understand, please feel free to drop me a message. I'm on Instagram, Awesome Dishes. I'm on Twitter, Awesome Dishes. The dishes on Twitter as double S, while the one on Instagram as just one S. You can visit our website, Naija Infusions. We're a catering company based in London, Battersea. We do catering for parties, any events you're doing, whether home parties, housewarming, naming ceremony, graduations. We do catering for the events, from small chops to main meal to desserts to cakes. We have you covered. So our website is NigeriaInfusions.com. It's going to be in the description box. Like I said, feel free to ask questions. I'm always open to answer your questions as much as possible. And when you're preparing jollof rice, this is something that is extremely important. Wooden spoon is extremely important. You can see from my wooden spoon, it's been doing a lot of jollof cooking. I had a very big one and it fell through the window. Someone decided to give it to their puppy to play with. I just say, you know what, it's not worth it. So I've been searching for a bigger one as well, because you can see from the size of the pot I'm using, we keep a lot of pot because of what we do. So wooden spoon is extremely important when you're preparing jollof rice. I use the wooden spoon for almost everything in my house. I've got them in various sizes. Also, what is extremely important when you're cooking jollof rice is to know the amount of water you'll be using. Water is extremely important, and something you have to keep in mind is that the water in the sauce, despite the sauce is simmering and the water is evaporating, it is also important that the sauce used in preparing the rice contributes to the amount of water you'll be needing. We want this rice as to cook and at the same time to be as smoky as see if you're using wooden firewood. Other thing we'll be using, which I have not shown you guys, is the Naija Infusion Jollof seasoning. Absolutely wonderful. When it gets to the point, I'm going to show you the season, the Naija Infusion Jollof seasoning will be added. In short, I'm going to grab it so that you guys can see it. Just give me a second. So for that extra smokiness in your jollof rice, I've got Naija Infusion Jollof seasoning here, which can be purchased via our website, nigerinfusions.com. We also do pepper soup seasoning as well as jollof seasoning. All the spices contain no artificial preservative or natural ingredients we use for our spices. So you can get it from our website. That's the name of our company, Naija Infusions, and the website is on the pack of the seasoning. So I'm gonna weigh. It's also got instruction of how you can use it. There's instruction. All of our spices comes with instruction. So I've got 1 tablespoon. If you're cooking 1 kilogram of jollof rice, you need 1 tablespoon. But because we're cooking 2 kilograms of jollof rice, I'll be using 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. I'm gonna weigh that into the curry. Something else you can use for your jollof is bay leaf. This seasoning comes with bay leaf. It's such a lovely seasoning, and we've got testimonies all over the world, from America to Canada to Malaysia to China, Tokyo, Australia. I know that far. Yes, we have clients all over the world. So I'm gonna weigh 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon out. This is 1 tablespoon into the curry I already have here, and then weigh the teaspoon. Remember, it's jollof seasoning from Naija Infusions. We have clients that come all the way from Nigeria, from the United States, from Canada, from Austria in Europe. You know, they come and say, you know, I'm coming for holiday to the United Kingdom. Are you able to prepare something for us to eat during our visit? That is what we do. We do that as well. We do live delivery. The things you get from us here at Naija Infusion is super immense, and we take great pleasure when we're cooking. We take our hygiene seriously. We're just gonna check on the sauce. The sauce is coming up. Just gonna place the lid back on and let it cook. We'll be washing the rice very soon, not yet, because we want it to be the sauce to simmer first before we wash the rice. Don't wash your rice and leave it in one corner waiting and hanging. You have to make sure that your sauce is ready before you prepare the rice. You always have to make sure your sauce is very ready before doing anything with the rice. We're going to check on the sauce. That's what it looks like now. We still need it to simmer down a bit. this time I would recommend that you switch your kettle on, because we need hot water to go into that. Remember what I said about temperature, that the temperature has to be right when the rice goes in. The same thing goes for hot water. We need hot water. They don't be doing cold water. If you pour cold water, we'll have to wait again for it to boil up. So it's good to pour hot water that is already boiled, so that the whole thing comes, the temperature does not drop. We're now going to check on the paste sauce and give it a good stir. That's what it looks like now. That's how you want, that's how you need your paste to be, this consistency. And remember, I told you that the amount of paste you have left will determine the amount of water you put into. So if your paste is like this, you won't be needing too much water. If you make it very dry, then you will need much more water. So I would advise you that your paste must be this consistency. So what I'm gonna do now is go wash the rice. Remember, wash your rice with warm water. The amount of water you can undo while it's hot or warm, that's the what you should use in washing the rice. 100% not cold water. What I'm gonna do now is add in the rice. The rice goes in. The Naija Infusion Jollof seasoning, thyme, curry, which we mentioned earlier. Very good. There you go. The stock cube. Make sure it's crushed. Get my blue roll, get my hand dry, pat dry my hand, and what I do is give it a good stir. This is why it's good to use wooden spoon rather than use all those metal spoons. Because wooden spoon reduces the burning, unlike metal spoons. You're using metal spoon, using wet up metal pour, using metal spoon, your whole thing is just catastrophe. For me anyway, I don't like it. So we're gonna weigh out our water. I'll start with 600 ml of water. So I've got 600 boiling water. That's 300. And another 300. Let's do that first. Because what we want is the water to just be just a little bit over the rice. That's what we want. And I told you, you start little and you work your way up. Don't be in a rush to add all the water at the same time. You have to always allow the rice to do its own thing. So I'm going to add another 300 ml of water. Before I add in the remaining 100. So basically I'm going to be using 1 liter of water, but just for your own purpose I'm adding them little at a time. if it were me just cooking for people for the home, I already know what I need. I just add it straight away. But because I'm teaching you guys, or we're educating one another, I'm not doing it that way. So I've added my 1 liter of water into the rice. We just want the water to cover the rice a little bit. That's all we need. Remember, we've not used no tomatoes in this rice, no puree, and it's still gonna come out looking really reddish and yummy. Feel free to taste to see if you have enough Maggi cube, but I have enough. I've done a lot of jollof rice to know when enough is enough. But feel free if you want to add more. You know, some of us, we like our food very salty. Some of us, we don't like it very salty. It just depends on individual. And the oil here. Just gonna add in, stir it up. The great thing about this seasoning is that it gives it such a lovely smoky taste. The jollof rice will be so smoky with the fact that we're going to be steaming it combined with the seasoning. Oh my goodness, delicious. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So at this stage, we're just going to place our lid on to the pot and reduce the cooker and let it just do its magic. We'll check up on it in a few. Just gonna check on the rice. Oh, nice, lovely jubbly. You see that? Lovely, no puree, none of that. Just good jollof, smoky. I can smell the Naija Infusion jollof seasoning in there. It smells absolutely delicious. This is me teaching you guys, or we educating ourselves how to cook big amount of rice. If you're someone who's been scared of doing big pots of jollof rice, this is a great opportunity for you to prepare your own jollof rice this coming Christmas. You know, a great opportunity. It's stress-free. You don't need to put this, put that. It's just before you add any extra water into the rice, it is important for you to taste it to make sure it's at the right consistency of you adding any extra water. Otherwise, if you go or add any extra water at some point and it's still really the rice is soft, your rice will become soggy. I'm just gonna add 200 ml of hot water again. Remember, I told you never add cold water, always hot water. Remember, we started with 1 liter of water before, so I've added 2 now. And once you've done this as well, where you add in, where you check the rice, you need more Maggi cube, feel free to add it. This rice is actually for a client, and they've specifically told me that they do not want it to be very salty. Hence the reason I've only used the 14 cube of chicken seasoning. If it were for me, I would probably make it 8 or 9 cubes. That means 8 when I say a double of 8, which is 16, or 9, which is 18. But because it is for a client and they want it less salty because of high blood pressure or for some reason, or just to maintain a good diet, they've requested for it. So I'm just gonna stick to the amount of seasoning I've added. But if you want for your own purpose, you know what your taste bud is, you can feel free to add a bit more. Like I said, we're a catering company based in United Kingdom, Battersea, yeah, United Kingdom. We cater for parties and a lot of events, any event you're doing. So I hope to bring you guys a lot more recipe at some point, hopefully once in a week. I'm also on Twitter. No, not Twitter, Snapchat. Yes, I'm on Twitter, which I've told you guys earlier. So what I'm gonna do is place the list back. Remember, you must always cook jollof rice on low heat. Do not be when you're cooking jollof rice, never ever be in a rush to cook jollof rice. Take your time, there's no rush. You're not getting a prize for who can cook jollof rice faster. It's about taking your time. I know the video is very long. Feel free to fast forward. The thing is, if you want to be taught, then you have to be patient to learn. You have to be, your heart has to be receptive and your ears needs to be open. So that's how I train myself. So this is the same thing I'm bringing to the table for you guys. I don't want to rush it and say, this is how you cook it, put the rice, put water, put this. No, I want you guys to understand the the basic principle of preparing jollof rice. Even any dish I'll be teaching you guys. It will be long videos, but please be patient. Be patient. Be patient. We'll check on the rice again in a few more minutes. I'm gonna check on the rice now. You have to stir your jollof rice on interval. And just leave it and go away. You always have to make sure it's on low heat and you're stirring on interval. You don't really need any water at this point. All you need is just to let the rice simmer for it to smoke up. The Naija Infusion Jollof seasoning not only gives it the smoky taste, but at the same time it flavors the rice. It's not about how much water you can put. You want your rice cooked yet grainy. That's all it's all about. Cooked yet grainy. Hey, grain is what we want, not soggy and all mushed up. And no ounce of tomatoes was used in this jollof rice. No puree, nothing, just bell peppers, onions, as well as Scotch bonnet for heat. I think that when you're preparing jollof rice or any food, less is more. Even when we bake cakes here, less is always more. It's not about how many things you can throw in. Yes, all those things, they are great, but it's the less you use, the more flavor you get from your soup. But when you start adding too many things, you would not know what is complementing what. So I'm gonna place the lid back on and leave it for another 10 minutes for it to for the smokiness to go through from the bottom of the rice all the way to the top, and our rice will be done. I'm so excited. Now jollof rice is done. Beautiful. Still grainy, well cooked. You're just gonna serve now. Serve with whatever you want. Beef, turkey, fish. It's all up to you, but I'll show you. I'm gonna serve this very simple, very straightforward, nothing fussy. Thank you for staying tuned. Remember, we're gonna upload as much video as we can during once in a week, as well as don't forget, We're a catering company based in Battersea, United Kingdom. We do home delivery. You can pick up your meals as well. Our website is nigerianinfusions.com. We've got loads of spices. One of the spices which we use in preparing this jollof rice was our jollof rice seasoning. That was one of the spices we used in preparing this jollof rice. We've got pepper soup seasoning as well as suya. All of our spices and dim tum as well as Rob Judge's sauce. They've got great review. They've got great reviews. Tongue tied. Yeah, so I'm just gonna serve now. Yum. And here we have our final serving of jollof rice. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I hope you learned something. Send me a message, leave a comment. That's how we know what to improve on, what to work on, and how to go forward. Your reviews are absolutely welcome. Tell a friend to tell a friend. NigerianInfusions.com. Remember, we do catering, all events, no matter how big, not small. The events are weekly meals, home delivery, pickup. We're all about catering and cakes, and our spices are wonderfully made. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Ta-ra!